All right, hi everyone. Josh Hughes here from Add-A-Tudez Entertainment Company, Team Kaizen, and all that. This is not an official like Team Kaizen video for today. This is just me having fun. Some of you have followed me on Twitch and stuff and know that I do a lot of Planet Coaster. I absolutely love roller coasters, and Planet Coaster is a great game in order to make your own coasters and theme them and all that. So I made a couple coasters recently, and they're all uploaded to Steam under my ID ZookeyTK, which is ZookeyTK, all one word. And I figured I'd run through them all today and show you what I did. This first one I call Ready to Theme Woody, and it's a wooden coaster that doesn't really have a theme. It's block sectioned to run 3 trains at once. And for those of you who don't know, a block section is a section of track that has a way to stop a train at the end of it, whether it's a chain lift or brakes or whatever. And the way the ride computer works is it only lets one train in any block zone at one time. That's the real world system that keeps trains from hitting each other. But this one can run 3 trains. Let me see if I can. So here, we'll get going here in a second. And you'll have to excuse that when I pick the coasters. Sometimes I'll have to change trains just so you can see the whole thing. Right now, the audience is loading and it's about to dispatch. And this one I left intentionally pretty themeless so that people could make it whatever they wanted it to be and plop it into any park without worrying about whether it fits a central theme or anything like that. I bet in real life that would have been one heck of an ejector hill. Here's final brake run 1, final brake run 2. And then in a second, once that train ahead of us dispatches, it will take us back into the station. And I figure I might as well just let it, go all the way so you see every inch of track. But like I said, this one, I put up wood walls, but other than that, it's fairly open to how people want to theme it. Because I figured it'd be fun to kind of have one that could be fairly easy to cut and paste. So that, and I should mention that all the coasters I'm showing in this video are all block sectioned. Well, like it's something that I've gotten used to over time is kind of timing that stuff. But the rest of these, though, will have very distinct, very heavy themes. This one is called, let me double check it, Skull Island Screamer, because I have this like skull back here that has flame effects on it. Like you'll see right here, this train's about to come through here and get some flame effects right here. So let's go ahead and get on a train for that. Here we go, we're dispatching right now. So you went through that kind of like dungeon gate that goes down up. And the cool part is it actually stays up to let the entire train out and then comes down, which is really cool. And here we are about to go into the flame effects. There we go. Into the final inversion. We kind of do a loop around a rock formation. And then I think in a second it's going to let us back in. You can barely see the other train. It's that little bit of yellow peeking through the chest right there. Although you can see the people in line, like once they hop into the train, that basically is telling us it's going to go. There they go. So in a second, it should let us in. And you saw that that gate just closed again, which I had so much fun doing this one. And then let's go over here. So this one is called Star Canyon. And I was basically inspired by a new coaster that came out in Britain called Hyperia that is very short, but very, very tall. And by short, I mean like the time you're on the ride is very short. In terms of height, it's a 200-footer. And it does some really cool things like this hill where I actually stole this hill from Hyperia. But the rest of this is kind of my own little layout. But you do an outbake turn that instead of popping back the way you should, you actually follow all the way through into an inversion down the hill, which I thought was just madness. So let's go ahead and get ready because it's about to launch. And that restraint will go down here in a second. And the timing on this one's perfect because that other train just arrived and this one's just ready to launch. And it keeps that clip every time. So here we go into the Hyperia Hill. Into kind of a figure 8 turn. Into a sea serpent roll. And finally into an Emelman turn that will lead us back into the station. And that other train will launch because during that whole time it was, swapping out passengers and stuff. And there's an alien to greet us back at the station. And that's Star Canyon. And like I said, that one was really inspired by Hyperia with the whole concept of short, only a few maneuvers, but each maneuver is ridiculous in size. This one, first of all, if you look online, I think it's on Casino Pier, but I'm not sure. There's a coaster by Wisdom Rides called Pirate's Hideaway that on the outside looks really ornate, like has this kind of circular lift hill. It has these two little hills, that are in front of this like really ornate painted backdrop. But after the two hills, the car goes inside this shed and it's plain on the inside. There's nothing on the inside. So the joke in the community is everyone calls it the cred in a shed. And this one is, I also called it cred in a shed. And for those of you who don't know, cred is short for credit. It's a thing that like coaster fanatics keep a count of how many different credits you've been on, how many different coasters. But I wanted to take the idea of the cred in the shed from Wisdom and see what would be like if it was heavily themed all the way through as an experience. So first of all, I put on these cars that can tilt, and that also lets me do some inversions in here where I take the track upside down and it does weird things with the rocking car. So it's fun. Let's check that out. Oh, hey. It's not going to take long for it to... So this one just came back into the station. It just had ended its run. And so each train on this only holds like 8 people. But these are like minecart trains that the original designers of Planet Coaster expected you to just do some tilting with. But if you take the track all the way upside down, it'll actually get right side up and kind of... You can do some funky, fun stuff with it upside down too. You can see we're already kind of leaning into the turns. And I only have 2 inversions on this, right? Because I designed it to be more of a heavily themed experience, less of super high thrill. So just some pops of high thrill moments. And then a pirate band plays for you while you wait to go back into the station. And the way it's actually set up, with how the lines move, you're not in the final break zone for long. You get back to the station pretty quickly. So I was really proud of that because sometimes when you're designing these coasters, you don't know exactly how it's going to work until you let all the people line up for it, and the clip that it keeps going at is just really nice. So back over here, this one I had a random idea that I wanted to do a launch coaster, and I wanted it to be like a fever dream from a clown or something. So I called this Madhouse, designed the station and the first part to be like a fun house, and then the second half just massive amounts of candy all around, as well as like a pile of whipped cream with sprinkles and cherries and all that. As goofy as I could possibly make it. So let's. And it's kind of a, like, I guess you would call it a launched infinity coaster. So like think like the model like hang time at knots, but with a launch and not the part where you hang over. So you go through a fun house first. Then it starts doing goofy stuff in here and launches you right at a clown face. Over the whipped cream hill. Station flyby with fireworks. And then a tunnel through the whipped cream and through the candy. And then final breaks and you're done. And you can see that the other one is already moving into the funhouse section. And so this is another one that it just keeps a really nice clip of constantly keeping trains moving, constantly keeping the line moving. So I really enjoy how that one works out. And then this one I just built today on live stream on Twitch. I call it Mayhem Manor. It started this morning. I didn't even know what I wanted the theme to be. I just wanted to build a short RMC, less than 100 feet tall. And for those of you who don't know, RMC is Rocky Mountain Construction. They're a coaster builder. This one ends up being 30 meters, which is about 90 feet. And the only other thing I knew is I wanted a wave turn, which is this turn right here, where you do a turn, but halfway through the turn it bumps out a little bit to launch your butt out of the seat. So you can see that the way this turn looks, it actually bumps out a little bit. And in real life, when you do a wave turn like that, it puts your butt out of the seat. And as we started theming it on Twitch, I got more and more into this horror theme, and I wanted to build a whole haunted house, and it became a whole idea of an RMC built into a haunted house. And the more I built it, the more I really wished it existed in real life. And I'll show you here in a second, but one thing to think about is most of the coasters I build are pretty easy. Like, you just download them, place them. This one, you have to first go into your game settings, like right here, and disable coaster collision and scenery collision. I don't know why, but whenever you place copies of this one, it expects you to do that or it won't let you place them. So let me see if I can get us a good view. So there. And this one has that same dungeon gate too. It's going to lift up and then those clocks will ding. And I have like a mild launch out of station, a 22-mile-an-hour launch where you do an outbank turn, go along the deck of the house, and then go onto the chain lift. Here comes the wave turn. See how it kind of pops you a little bit? Then we go into a mid-course brake run with a bunch of holograms. And then into a very tiny Raven Truss dive, taken from a Reforce 1. Dive around some scenery. And then kind of a final double up into the brakes. And in the brake section, I did this kind of cool mist effect. And did kind of a little cryptic haunted house kind of deal that you wait in. This one is pretty good about keeping the line moving. Like if I look over... Oh, it's hard to see in there. You could barely see in there because that dude's blocking my view. But you only wait in the final brake run for a little bit, so it's not that bad. Where the other ones were much better about constantly keeping trains moving, and you're on the final brake run barely at all. But still, it works out pretty good, and I'm really proud of it. This one's block section to run 3 trains, so 1 in the station, 1 on the brakes, 1 running the course. And you see, like, right as we got in, that other train just was right behind us getting there. And one thing I love, too, is the double up into the final brakes. You actually go double up right over that first section, that outer bank turn that people launch into. So, excuse me, I apologize. I just coughed there. But yeah, I've had an absolute blast building these, and I know everyone loves to see them. So, like I said, hop on Steam. Those are under ZookeyTK, ZookeyTK. And be sure to also follow my Twitch account, which is Add-A-Tudez. It's for our whole team. But sometime soon, we're going to be finishing this bad boy. This one I call Machina, the Captain of Industry. It's heavily inspired by the new coaster at Europa Park called Voltron Navara, which that one's themed to the experiments of Nikola Tesla. This one is themed to like a kind of old-timey industry zone, and is a multi-launch coaster that's heavily themed. And we've done most of the stuff on stream already. You can see a lot of it is done, but this kind of copper pad back here is the last part that we haven't done yet, and that will be done on stream soon. So I hope you enjoyed checking out all my coasters today, and have a great day.